they need, and make that explicit. Use available data, but also ask for the data that you think are still missing. And our ministry has the responsibility to look for ways to make those data available. That's the kind of policy priority. Here again, bridge. I think that's a central concept in my analysis. Bridge. Talk and co-produce with government and citizens. Never stop talking with as much organizations and people as you can. That's the most important thing to do. And maybe I'm not very much informed about how the hackers world is organized, but joint forces would help government. They are used to talk with kind of representative organizations. So if you are able to join forces and come up with a kind of joint perspective or joint message towards governments, that would make it more natural for governments to talk with you. And last thing, be polite, positive, and patient. That's very human, basic interaction suggestions, but if I talk a lot with local governments and they complain about the negativity in their interactions with citizens. And I understand it for a part, but it would help to be a little bit more polite and positive in the interaction with governments. And last thing, that might be the best thing to do as a hacker, just start working for a government, because that's much more easy to have influence if you are within a government organization than you are outside and try to change things from a more distance. So start working for a government, that would help a lot. Some concluding remarks. Trust is a problem, and it requires reciprocity. Give, receive, and return. That's what I call it. You should do all three of it actively with as much people as you can. Also, in my view, innovation and change will always come from unexpected recombinations of initiatives, of people, of ideas. So really try to bridge and bond and whatever you can to find new energy and new ideas. Be polite, positive, and patient. That's also an advice. Within government, things do not go very fast. That's my own experience. It takes really a while, and it depends on the political the minister of the major of whatever who has the real power. It takes a while to change, so have patience. Government always walks behind a few years, and have faith towards the future. That will conclude my presentation, and I have written up some questions that I have for you that might help organizing the discussion and questions that you might have for me, but I really am looking for inside views from hackers, from you, how hackers can help governments in their open data activities, in their becoming more interactive, and how do you bridge between government and citizens. So those are the main questions. I have opened up a space, trust20.ning.com, in which you can, if you feel like having a discussion with me or any other people who are present in this room, to continue discussing it afterwards. But I want to give the floor now to you.
Sorry, just got audio there. We'll open up the floor to a few questions that you might have for Arnout. Anyone has a hand up? Good. Okay. I am the roving mic.
You seem to suggest that there's three equal parts in this matter of trust, where government, citizens, and hackers need to work together to cooperate, to make progress. But don't you think that the burden here is much more on the government? I think the government has a very long history of distrusting citizens and undermining the citizens' trust in the government. Mm-hmm. In particular, particularly last decade or something like that, Many Western governments have started treating citizens like potential criminals by making ID required, by allowing searching in lots of places, by trying to get a tighter grip on the lives of citizens. You say that citizens need to make their wishes clear to the government, and for a long time citizens did. In particular in the Netherlands, I remember a big student protest about a decade back or something, which was peaceful but violently crushed by police intervention. Mm-hmm. That kind of thing does enormous damage to the public trust in their own government. So, what do you think about the burden on the government in particular to another example, by the way, a lot of initiatives that do come from citizens, where a lot of citizens like to feel like they're participating, give their opinions, and then they're subsequently ignored by the government, and they decide to do something else anyway. The creation of Eiburg in Amsterdam, for example, lots of other local projects.
I think you're right in your analysis that that the government is really has a problem in the last few years, 10, 20 years, that is difficult. The damage that has been done to the trust of citizens in government is difficult to take away. But on the other way, my analysis is not so much who is guilty in some way, but we have now a situation of mutual mistrust in each other. So how do you can bypass that mutual mistrust? That's my main concern. I'm not looking for kind of just a single one who is responsible for this situation. That will not help.
Sorry, we just got a handful. I can see this is going to be a lively question time.
Yes, I'm Rijn Rustema. I run the mentioned petitions website, and I think the question that's related to your question, we should ask which government, because we have the government that governs, and we have representatives that are in the opposition, and we have civil servants, a lot of them, and we have local levels and national levels and transnational levels. And people are quite often very dissatisfied with what the government does, regering, those in control, and completely agree what the opposition does. And they feel they're being ignored. Or they have very good relations with somebody on a local level, but on a national level, it's completely different. So how to tackle all this web, which we in the Netherlands call overheid, it's something over you. But we have so many hierarchies, and it's for citizens, it's them, it's one amorphous big whole, it's the other side. And this makes it very difficult to create a relation of trust, because it's impossible to have a relation with a blob. Mm-hmm. How to make the government transparent in that way, just the hierarchy of it, because it probably will remain hierarchical. Yeah.
The hierarchy is a real problem in this issue, but one thing you just need to do is to start doing things and